So, welcome up on the stage.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a Swiss guy. I speak, of course, French, Italian, also Spanish, Portuguese, Schweizerdeutsch, Swiss German if you want. I don't speak Swedish. So I'm very sorry I couldn't follow the interesting speeches here on the stage. And I feel like a ski racer. I'm on top of the hill and have to go down the giant slalom, and it's foggy. So I can't see the gates. So nevertheless, I hope I can give a small contribution to the Jubilee of Kretsen. I will start. I don't know what you have said. I have understood Libya and Afghanistan, of course. Okay, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me first congratulate you for the Jubilee of Kretsen. Jubilee are a clear sign that we move away from the role of pioneer to a role of those who are just asked to do a very professional job, fulfilling benchmarks of industry. That is hard, but that's life. Nevertheless, I think Kretsen, as many Weee Forum members, are close to Steve Jobs. And he said, stay hungry, stay foolish. Together with the take-back system of Norway and Switzerland, Kretsen is one of the top on European take-back systems for Weee. And this is only possible because you really stay very close to your customers, very close to your stakeholders, very close to the market, and you do all improvements that are rising up. One of the key assets we have created within the Weee Forum. We are 39 members from all over Europe. Is a climate of a very good exchange of experiences, exchange of know-how, of ideas. We know each other on a personal level quite well, and we get very well along with each other. So that's why I will come for the third time the next spring to the Vasaloppet together with Jan-Olov. That is a precondition of the success not only of associations, but also in companies. So I'm looking forward to the next 10 years of Kretsen, and I'm sure you will go on playing a role of pioneer, and you will go on contributing to the further development of Weee management in Europe. I've been asked by Jan-Olov to talk about Weee management in Europe. How do we operate? What are the keys today and in the future? I will try to do so, but I also would like to open your eyes to some issues which will be crucial in the future when it comes to collection and treatment of Weee. Waste of electric equipment is the fastest growing waste stream in the world. We know it. Look around when you go in a retail shop. What you see around you is just future waste. Our carbon footprint has become so big that actually we spend the resources of 3 Earths, but we have only one. Let us remember, we did not inherit the Earth from our parents. We got it borrowed from our children. So what are the key elements that have to be fulfilled that Weee management becomes a success on the long term? And the success in Weee management means that it will be essential for an efficient resource strategy on Europe. Let me point out 4 elements. The first is producer responsibility. It is today a generally recognized as the base concept for a sustainable and efficient resource strategy. In the 80s and 90s, we have seen the first concept, for example, the law on life cycle management in Germany in 94. It was in Europe one of the first countries to oblige producers to be responsible for their appliances put on the market by them also after end of life. Producer responsibility is the base also for the Weee directive, the actual and the recast. But we see that the consequences of this principle too often are not understood. More and more, policymakers reduce producer responsibility just to a responsibility for financing, without any possibility to influence what they have to pay, just paying for collection, transport, treatment. Producer responsibility is more. And let us make it clear, or you are pregnant or you're not. No woman can just be a little bit pregnant. Or we set up the principle of producer responsibility with all consequences, or we do not. Implementation of producer responsibility means we change the basics of a whole industry, namely the scrap industry. Recycling industry exists since a very long time. We had scrap dealers already in the Middle Age, and they collected the arms of the killed soldiers on the battlefields. They did their work without receiving almost any attention by the public during centuries. So, with the implementation of producer responsibility, we make a fundamental change of the responsibility in the recycling industry. Producer responsibility does not mean only financing. It means that producers have influence in the flow of the materials when it comes to recycling. They have to control what they are responsible for and what they pay for. Implementing producer responsibility is one first step in the right direction to get to sustainable economy, which will no longer spend 3 times the earth in resources and energies. Let me come to the second element, access to Weee. Actually, under the current Weee directive, only 30% of all Weee arising is reported to the governments of the EU member states. 70% are not reported. We had last year about 9 million tons Weee arising. We reported about 3 million tons. The Weee Forum and Weee Forum members were about 2.2 million tons. That does not necessarily mean that all 70% not reported would be treated in an insufficient way. But as take-back systems which are closed in the market, we can clearly observe that a huge part of the Weee arising is going directly to the export, without any depollution of hazardous components, leaving such waste in countries where the population has no possibility to avoid damages in environment, damages in health. Access to Weee is one of the essential key to fulfill successfully the management of Weee. All Weee waste of electronic equipment has to be handed over to officially recognized organizations. These may be take-back systems, scrap companies, recyclers. All they are obliged to collect, to transport, and to treat on the base of recognized standards to make an appropriate depollution and to report to their governments. Let's stop the trade of evidence papers as we know in UK. I think we are actually living in the bank sector what happens with virtual constructs. We cannot make producers responsible for collection and collection targets of Weee if we do not give them the access to Weee. The principle of producer responsibility is the strongest instrument to come to an efficient and strong resource strategy. But please, let us be consequent, or we implement the principle and then producers take their responsibility, or we do not. And then we hand over the Weee to the communities and other state organizations, and we finance the whole Weee management by ordinary taxes. I come to the third element, level playing field. Level playing field is a condition for a good and successful Weee management. Recycling of Weee has become an industry. The time of depollution by handwork belongs to the past. Exceptions may make sense in social institutions that many of our members support, but not because of economics, because of social and political reasons and responsibilities. To be economic, recycling has become an industrial reproduction. As the products themselves are produced on a highly sophisticated industrial level, also the reproduction has to end up on a high industrial level. This level will guarantee for perfect depollution of pollutant and hazardous waste. The goal of creating a level playing field was the main reason that within the Weee Forum we started our biggest project in our young history, the creation of standards of treatment for all 10 Weee categories in collection, transport and treatment. The project is called Weee Lab X, meaning Weee Label of Excellence. It is a Life Plus funded project of 1 million euros, 50% financed by Life Plus and 50% financed by the Weee Forum members. And I'm very proud to say today, after 2 years, that we are on a good track to reach the goals that we had agreed with the Life Plus desk. Before we started the project, all Weee Forum members had to sign a charter. And this charter obliges all Weee Forum members to implement standards once they have been agreed by the General Assembly with a qualified majority. That gave us in the board the security that once we make the standard, our members will have to follow. In April this year, we could approve the standards after voting 54 amendments, voting like that. And at the end, we reached unanimity on the standards that we had agreed. Actually, we are working on the architecture of verification and auditing, and hopefully we will find a good solution at our next meeting in November. We have working groups, task forces, a project steering group who are still working quite intensively to bring the project to a success. End of 2012, first adopters, about 7 or 8 Weee Forum members, will have implemented Weee Lab X. End of 2013, the big majority, and end of 2014, also the ones who are the last. We could involve producer associations like CESED and Digital Europe and Orgalim, as also recycling associations like ERA in the project. So we have the special situation that as a Weee Forum, we are not a classic standard producing organization, but once the standard has been agreed in our GA, we will implement it in a relatively short time all over Europe. And we are convinced that with the implementation of WeLabX in Europe for collection, for transport, for treatment, we will come quite close to a level playing field in Weee management all over Europe. I come to the fourth element, healthy financial base for the take-back systems. It is obvious the consumer pays always. And let us be clear, his contribution to the recycling may be declared as a visible fee or a non-visible fee, or just be integrated in the price of the products. It is always the consumer who has to pay. Maybe just one personal remark. Only with the model of the visible fee, the consumer does not have to pay the margin of the prices, which from producer to retailer sometimes gets relevant on 2 or even 3 stages. But there is a special peculiarity in the financing of take-back of Weee in all our systems. In normal business, I sell this iPhone to you and you pay me the price. That's the business we know. In all Weee systems, where the producers have to finance for collection, transport and treatment, I sell you the iPhone, you give him the money, and the recycler takes the money from him. So it's very, very different from our usual business. That's why we say that utmost high transparency in this business model is the guarantee for long-term success. To have a good and healthy financial base for the ongoing implementation of producer responsibility, we strongly believe that the principle of collective financing is the strongest finance guarantee. Just look how Euro countries actually try to save the euro. It's by collective. So there is also no country that has more than one social security. In our systems, we use this strong instrument for the financing of Weee that have been put on the market many years ago by producers which do not exist anymore. In some batches of our members, we have seen that we have in the Weee stream orphan waste. That means products that we cannot contribute to any actual existing producers of more than 25%. Let me come to conclusions. Producer responsibility organizations and as the Weee Forum members are doing a good job. In 2010, we collected 2.2 million tons of Weee, depolluted, treated and reported. And from 2002, when we started with the Weee Forum, until today, we have collected, depolluted, treated and reported an amount of 8 million tons. That is a good result, but we will go on and we will improve more. The phase of pioneers is being to get closed. We are asked to provide our stakeholders and customers a highly professional and industrial job, fulfilling the benchmarks established by our branch in collection target, efficiency and effectiveness, in creating a level playing field over Europe. The take-back system over Europe will have to start closer cooperation to make the services for producers all over Europe more efficient and to lower costs. And finally, producer responsibility organizations will play a key role when it comes to build up a resource strategy on the European level, not only in the field of rare metals, but for all resources. That's our goal. Our goal is to improve. Let's do it together. All the best to your Jubilee and Kretsen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Andreas, we have time for some questions if you like. Thank you very much indeed. You said that 10 million tons of Weee are collected and only 3 million tons are reported. Was that right?
No, we have last year there was about 9 million tons Weee rising.
Yes.
And the Commission got reported about 3 million.
Yes.
So 1/3. And we lose 2/3 of the whole amount, which nobody knows officially. Nobody knows where it goes.
And that the part that disappears must do it in a way that seems to be more profitable or cheaper, so that is sort of a black competing market, which is more attractive to a majority of the waste. And what conclusions should we draw from this?
We are now in the recast of the directive, and we ask Commission, Parliament that the Weee that arises in collection points have to be handed over to organizations that are officially recognized by the states as take-back system. It doesn't have to be Weee for members. They may be others, but they have to report. And they have to make sure that they treat all Weee with the standards that has been established.
So that is a sort of stronger legislation is the answer and the solution.
A bit stronger
or
legislation,
surveillance,
yes.
or whatever you say.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
But still, it might still be more attractive to export this and get rid of it. It's cheaper, or maybe you can sell it and get a higher profit.
It is when you make a proper depollution, it's more costly than when you just put all appliances in a container and shift it to China or to Africa or anywhere.
Mm. How do you see that the big producers are taking their full responsibility, not only sort of the financial responsibility? Is big business responding to this?
I think in the B2B area, producers are already taking back appliances they have put on the market in the direct exchange, and we know that there are some big players. They use parts and components of the old appliances to build it up in new ones, and I think we have to look. The European Commission is now building up or saying they will build up a resource strategy on European level, and all what we call waste is resource, and we have to look that these resources go back.
So design and production is changing as a result of increased responsibility for the waste.
Yes, of course.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.